Reddit, what's a weird habit of yours you didn't think was weird until someone mentioned it? Shared a hotel with a buddy during a trip, and he told me I sleep like I'm embalmed. Arms crossed, on my back, stiff as a board. I do the same thing, but sleep on my stomach. I call it reverse coffin. I giggled. Good to know. So my inner wrists are eerily sensitive in a good feeling way, so I touch them a lot to soothe myself. Significant others always touch them too because they know how much I like it. Never thought it was weird until I realized nobody else understands the sensation I'm talking about. Plenty of people have thought it was weird lol. I would never let somebody touch my wrist. Not on my watch. Haha. Take my upvote. I talk to myself, running conversations through my head. A few words will slip out every once in a while. I do this. My wife points out that it makes me look crazy. She's right. And anyone who thinks talking to yourself doesn't make you look crazy are fooling yourself. We've all seen the weird guy on the bus, subway, street corner, whatever talking to himself, and you know he looks like someone on the edge of losing it. This is what I thought for the longest time. I guess the question now is where is the line on it? There's gotta be a difference between just letting words slip out and going bonkers. Question mark? I'm sure there's a line. Too. But who decides where it is? Like beauty, looking crazy is in the eye of the beholder. I also noticed that if left unchecked, it gets worse. I told my wife to point it out whenever she sees it. It's annoying. But eventually I started catching and stopping myself and getting better at it. This is a question for sure. I'm not sure where it comes from. Maybe a easy trigger finger. Or an overly active mind. Either way I shut it down when I'm in public, but roommates and girlfriends will find out eventually. I eat slow. I spend like 30 minutes on a bag of crisps. Same. I almost choked once because I was trying to keep up with my friends. Do people have vacuum in their throats? Or they don't chew, just swallow? How can they eat so fast? Food insecurity. 4 brothers and sisters. And a rumor. Speeds you right up. If today don't inhale that shit then it's gone. Forever. Whenever I touch or bump something, especially on accident, I feel like I have to repeat that action on the same spot on the other half of my body. Now it's getting to the point where my brain just does it without consulting me first. And it's gotten me some weird looks / comments. Shit, I thought this was just me. I don't do it much anymore, but as a kid, if I got an itch on my right knee and scratched it, I'd have to scratch the same spot on my left knee or it wasn't fair. I used to do this as a kid too. Except I hated odd numbers, so I had to then do it at least once but usually up to 4 times, because in my little head, 4 was not just even but was also square, not like 2 squared, because I didn't know that math at the time. But like in my head, it was visually a square for some reason. Got to the point where, if I was washing my hair and my elbow hit the wall, both elbows would have to be touched by the wall 8 times. And forget about walking down the street. If I stepped on a crack, I wasn't worried about my mother's back. I just needed to step on a crack with my other foot, so they could feel even. And then of course that had to eventually be done enough times to reach 4 sets. At some point in my tweens, I realized it was becoming a problem and forced myself to stop. But I'm now in my late 30s and it's still hard sometimes to not try to even out the feeling when I'm walking down a sidewalk. This was exactly what I went through when I was younger. You even managed to explain the 4's rule. I'm honestly in shock over how perfectly you describe it. Holy shit, you had the 4 things too? Someone will say something to me like at the end of a work shift, and I won't respond until the next time I see them, and then they've forgotten about the comment they said, just because it took me a few hours to process what they meant. For example, Kawaka and I were talking about the gym, and I said yeah you're just as thin, and she replied no, I'm round, and it took me the next day to tell her she wasn't round SMH. Me too. One day I was taking a shower with my wife and I discover that she washes her underpants in the shower and uses the newly washed underpants as sponge to help to clean her body. I said WTF, and she said that her mom taught her to do that. And just like that I found that females on her family have this weird shower tradition. Cleaning undies in the shower, sure. They actually suggest you do this with bras because they're so delicate. Using it as a sponge, no mayo. One day, my husband raised his arm to put around me while I was sitting on the couch and I instantly flinched away from him. My brother-in-law was shocked and instantly thought that my husband might be hitting me when nobody was around. We laughed it off because he would never do such a thing. He responded with, "She does it every time. I'm just used to it by now." I didn't even realize that I did it. Mind you, I did come from an abusive childhood, so my reflexes are a little defensive. He also pointed out that I'm super jumpy and even the lightest of noises make me do a little freak out. My ex-husband was like that, and it was because his big brother used to beat up on him. I'm really sorry you went through that, and it's affected you in this way. I eat too fast. I can finish the same amount of food my wife eats in half the time it takes her. Others have pointed this out too. I don't think it's weird, but it helped me finish my food quicker while in basic training. Me too. Was never in basic training, but I always finished my food faster than my family and friends. And when I try to be mindful of eating slowly, I still eat fast. Haha. Yeah, I've tried many times to eat at normal pace, but I can't. I get bored, I guess. I sniff every cup before I use it. Don't know why. Burrowing in my sleep as well. I have to have my head covered for me to be comfortable. Didn't think it was weird until a college roommate pointed out that he always could tell when I was going to sleep because I just put my pillow or my covers over my head beforehand. I've had people come into my room when I'm asleep and thought nobody was there, so I guess it's a nice defense mechanism against predators. Interesting. I wonder if your cup sniffing is the advanced version of an animal checking to make sure a drinking source is clean before drinking from it. It comes from drinking from moldy sour milky cups as a child. I thought I was the only one that would look for the biggest clipping after clipping my nails and bend between my fingers until I saw George Carlin joke about it. But do you chew it is the real question. Some things are personal. Geez. Anytime I hear something mundane doing a rhythm or tone, like a coin falling or someone coughing, I just repeat it whistling. It makes everyone laugh now. Asking permission to go to the toilet. If I'm in someone's house that I'm not used to being in, I'll ask, "Can I use your bathroom?" or something like that. One day someone decided it would be funny to say no, and that's when my mates found out that I won't go if they say no. I'll just sit back down. To change this behavior I started saying, "Where is your bathroom?" So it's not a yes or no question. I know, but that's the thing. It's like I have to have permission. It's just something that makes me jittery. It's like you're a bathroom vampire and you need to be invited into it. This kinda made me laugh. I pick at my lips when I'm stressed out. I've done it since I was a kid, so my mom always gets mad when she catches me doing it. Lol. I try to use chapstick to break the habit, but I always end up doing it without even realizing. Like if I'm watching a suspenseful movie or texting someone about something urgent / anxiety inducing. I used to do a similar thing where I put my finger on one part of my hair and turned the hair around repeatedly, making it twist and curl. My mom freaked out one day when hair seemed to thin out in those parts of my head, giving me a Maleficent style widow's peak. Oh my god, I've twirled my hair since I was a baby. Is this why I have a widow's peak? When I was 12, I used to suck in and bite the insides of my cheeks. A teacher at school saw it and copied me as a joke. I saw how stupid it looked and never did it since. I did that too. Still do. Don't think I'll ever end up stopping. If you manage, please let me know how. Not my habit, but in high school I had a very dear friend who would throw his phone behind his back, up in the air, and catch it when it fell over his shoulder, without fail. Every single time. It scared the shit out of me, considering my clumsy old self would definitely have dropped it. He would also randomly deeply inhale with his thumbs at his nose, And also when we'd eat together, whether it had been at my house or at school, he would save exactly one bite of each item on his plate/tray until the end of his meal, and then eat those bites. I miss him so much. But we went down different paths, and don't talk much anymore. He was the coolest dude I knew. I have really bad memory. I pick up something, and set it down for 1 second to do something else quick, and never remember my original goal. I have to make countless notes, alarms, and Google Calendar events and reminders just to survive. Yet for some reason I have a habit of remembering exact times that only lasts for that day until I sleep, and forget those too. Never even noticed or knew until my boyfriend went, "How did you sleep?" And I said, "God awful." I woke up at 5:14 am to a stomach ache and feel asleep around 5:46. Woke up again at 8:04 because it was hot, and then woke up the last time at 11:27 apostrophe. It surprised me that he was surprised. Sometimes I do it subconsciously, but I definitely do it knowingly too. Suspicious things might happen in the night, and I'm like, cool. So if cops show up tomorrow, I'll know that at 2:39 am I heard a suspicious pop, that cold being a gun, and make the effort to stamp that exact time in my brain for days. PTSD can cause hypervigilance, which could be why a person's brain discards information that it deems useless and holds on to other information that the person deems useless. I have an incredibly weird ability for guessing the time of day really accurately without looking at a clock. Doesn't exactly benefit me, and is a bit weird, and I'm 99% sure that this talent comes from hypervigilance due to PTSD. Not saying that you have PTSD, and if you are concerned that you may, and feel that it affects your daily life, you could bring it up with a therapist. No, I don't, and it in no way super seriously affects my life. But I appreciate your concern nonetheless. Also, I never knew about hypervigilance before. That's kinda interesting actually. Oh yeah. I wasn't trying to say you have PTSD. I apologize and should have worded my comment better. I was more so trying to emphasize how stress can impact our thought processes and how we store information. PTSD is just a good example of this, and I felt obligated to add the talk to a therapist part just in case someone felt that my comment was an attempt at diagnosis. But yeah, hypervigilance is very interesting. However, it can become pretty debilitating for some people. I need to be distracted while eating. If I don't look at my phone or PC screen, even when really hungry, I will be unable to finish even a small amount of food I have on my plate, because I will feel full and then get hungry again after 5 minutes. While distracted, I eat slowly, in my own pace, and then don't get hungry again for hours. I noticed it at my aunt's place once, when Dad told me to stop looking at my phone while having dinner. In the end, I ate half of a chicken breast and felt sick. The same way you feel after overeating. That's actually very interesting. Perhaps someone already researched this? No idea. I wear my belt slightly to the left, so the buckle is on my hip instead of in front. Is there a benefit? The belt buckle rubs your wrists in a feel-good way. I understood that reference. I shit nude. Also rarely use public toilets. My ex-boyfriend could only shit nude. Literally the only way he could shit. I feel vulnerable and scared if I try to shit nude, lol. I feel cold. In a group conversation, I sometimes stay silent for literally 30 minutes and start talking again like nothing. Realized with quarantine, where I suddenly talk and people get surprised I was still in the voice chat after 15/20/30 minutes of not even a word. Remembering a lot of details about conversations. I'm jealous. I have a chronic illness that causes wicked brain fog and my memory sucks. I can have a full conversation and walk away with very little recollection of what we talked about. It makes me sad because people think I'm ignoring them or that I don't care. I stir every drink before I drink it. See the ice melting at the top freaks me out. You having ice in every drink might also be an odd habit. Lol, yeah, I had no idea. I don't drink anything hot ever. It must have ice in it. Whenever I accidentally bump into someone, I always feel the need to apologize. People always tell me not to apologize because it's no big deal. But it feels wrong to accidentally touch someone and not say sorry. This is totally normal and commonly accepted as just common courtesy. Hey, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.